Hello and welcome to the match preview for NFC 360. This is a special preview because I don't think we've probably been able to do a preview like this for quite a while. It is a preview of the second leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final, which will be tomorrow at a packed St James's Park. Hopefully with a lot of scarves. I probably should have worn mine now just because it's a little bit nippy and chilly here. Would have kept us warm. So what we're going to do, we're going to start as we normally do with looking at Southampton. Now, the good thing is it wasn't that long. It was only last Tuesday when we played them. So hopefully there's quite a few players that are going to be like popping up there. The one that I'm just going to name first was that Alvarez. I thought he was quite good and was probably a bit of a surprise. You know, they brought him in and that, but he looked good. He looked pacey. He looked up for it. I think in terms of a performance, I think you probably got a better performance from Southampton than people were probably expecting, given the fact that they'll have went, we'll beat them 4-1, so it'll be easy again. Yeah, no game's easy. And whilst it should have been a 2-0 lead, I'm still not over that. But thankfully, Andre Mariner isn't referee, isn't VAR or referee, so happy news on that. Yeah. So what we'll do is I'm going to go around and just ask, as we usually do. We've got Michael and Ez here, and we're going to ask them who their most dangerous players are and what they think of Southampton and have they got any threats and what we should be looking out for. We'll go to Michael first.
Well, like you, I was not pleasantly surprised, but I was surprised how good they were, especially for that little spell he had, 15 minutes. And I was actually quite surprised by Che Adams, even though his finishing was dreadful, to say the least. He put himself about a lot. He could be a real. If I'm worried about one player tomorrow night, that's going to be him, because I think and I won't mention any other, but he was the one that stood out for me. And I thought that's it. When he got through, I thought that's it. He's going to score, and how he missed, I don't know. So he was my danger man. I was really quite impressed with him. So, but. That they only had 15 minutes, didn't they? Really, if we're being honest, and we should have been 3 up. I know you said 2, but really, we should be. It should have been 3-0. Really, should be walking into this feeling a lot easier than we do. But I was quite impressed with them in spells. Yeah.
And Ez, have you got any other Southampton players that you think might be causing a bit of an issue or a bit of a worry and you're concerned about, and that we should be focusing on?
I think there are quite a few actually. I know what you're saying. I think there are more. I think there's more to come from them, to be honest with you. So Kyle Walker-Peters always seems to have a decent game against us. He's got quite a lot of pace, so he can cause us problems, and he did at times last week. Then we had say a prayer for Gineppo. Hopefully he's back, because he got absolutely clattered by Nick Pope, didn't he? But he's on his day can come up with something. James Ward-Prowse on free kicks and corners. Every time they had a set piece, I was like, something might happen, because he's so good with his set pieces. And then Adam Armstrong as well. You just knew he was going to score, and I know he didn't, but he kind of did. And you just know that if he comes on St James's Park, that atmosphere, it will probably G him up as well. So there are quite a few players, and they've got their defender back as well. Is it Salas the Sarr? He's back as well.
Because the suspension for the second yellow was served in the FA Cup game. Do you not think Adam Armstrong knew that he was in a position where he was going to score and thought, I can't really score against my boyhood club. I'll just nick a little hand in there. There we go.
Oops.
I'll tell you what, though, the way he celebrated did not look like that at all. I've done one here. So I don't know.
But he doesn't. He's not going to not celebrate. He wants.
No, he wanted it. He wanted it.
Conspiracy theories here, but I don't know. Maybe, but we'll see what happens. But I'm hoping he doesn't play, because he's got some pace. I think pace against Botman and Shea, I think that's the key to getting through us. Is like, if you've got a player who's got a lot of pace, you've seen that quite a few times. Whenever there has been a chance, it's been because they've broken through the offside, and we just can't run back. The players that just run past. Botman's a good player, but I think one thing he's lacking is have that real speed to get to make
I
up.
think Shaw for his age has still got a fair bit of pace in that sense. Because normally you will see a Shaw who's like the one who's got the speed to get in there.
Yeah, they're not slouches by any means, but
yeah,
that's. Yeah.
But no, it's to be expected. You never know. Yeah, Botman might get that pace up. You know, he's coming in. He's just come into a new league in the Premier League, which is probably completely different to what he's been playing in France. Yeah, this is the Premier League and English competition. It's basically non-stop. You don't have a breather. You don't have a break. It's fast paced. It's energetic. Yeah, you've got to give your all in that. And I think quite all the signs that have come in have actually done really good. Yeah, in terms of adapting to the English game.
Absolutely. Yeah, agree.
But that'll be down to Eddie Howe, because Eddie Howe wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
What we'll do now is we'll move away from Southampton, because this isn't Southampton 360.
We care not a jot.
So what we'll do is we'll move on to our lineup and what we think it'll be. So we'll go with the usual one, which probably everyone will be unanimous on. Is Pope staying in goal?
Absolutely not. No, I'm joking. Yeah, he's got to be Nick Pope in there, surely.
That back five.
The whole back five
now.
It just picks itself.
Yeah.
So we're basically taking off Trippier, Botman, Shaw, and Byrne is the back line.
Unless there's a knock. Unless there's a knock.
Got,
who knows with Eddie Howe?
Yeah,
who knows?
Absolutely. I mean, unless one of them's injured, then there's like Mount Rushmore now, aren't they? You can't change that.
And so the easy one, we've got the back five sorted. Yeah, the impenetrable back five who just thou shalt not pass.
Yeah.
Going to the midfield now, and I'm going to do this. Who do you think is going to start in the number 6 position? The DM.
Well, if you watched the game last week, at times it was Sean Longstaff, and at times it was Bruno. It kind of felt like they were kind of interchanging, and so I think it will be probably the same. I think we'll probably start with Bruno, but then it may change to Sean Longstaff.
So it's what he does, with Willock and Jordan at times, and it's quite a flexible interchange in that sense, and I think that can work because players will be thinking, am I going against Bruno now? Oh no, I'm going against Sean Longstaff. Yeah, that sort of thing. Now, see, you mentioned Sean Longstaff and Bruno. Do you think it's going to be those two as like your two definite starters in the midfield?
I'll let Ez answer that because I've got a different view of it.
Well, I think if you're asking me what Eddie Howe's going to do, Eddie Howe's going to pick the same 11. I'm right. So certain he's going to pick the same 11. I don't think he's going to change it. I think he might make changes earlier in the game than he did last week, but I think he'll stick with the same 11 just because if you just look at his track record.
Do you not think he may make the move and bring Maximin onto the wing and Isak up front?
No, I think he might do in the league. Okay, good, Michael. I agree. I think he should. Right? He should. I don't think he will.
I'm absolutely. You're absolutely right. Because I mean, why would he change it? He hasn't wanted to before. I just think he's going to go for something exciting. I think he just wants to put Isak and Maxi in from the start. I think he just wants to. I think he just wants to get the crowd going, and I think he knows that some of us are getting a bit. It sounds churlish to criticise any of them, doesn't it? Still, but I honestly think he's going to start Maxi and Isak tomorrow. I just got a feeling. I just think he could see that dynamism when they came on, and I think he wants to get the game won. So I think he might even go the other way where they start and then they come off. So, but I think they've definitely eased Isak into it because obviously he had a nasty injury, didn't he? But I think he showed he's ready to start now, and I think people wouldn't be bothered by that. I think they would want that, and I think they'd want that for Maxi as well because we want a thrilling semi-final. We want to just get in early. So yeah, I think he might come with a surprise tomorrow. So, but I'm probably wrong because Ez says he's Eddie and he's going to pick the same 11, isn't he?
Well, that's the thing. The only counter argument I would probably give with that one is he may feel it's better to maybe have your Joe Linton and your Joe Willox and your Wilsons on in those positions because it may be a little bit more defensively solid in that sense, and he may think I'd probably be in a better position when, let's say, maybe Southampton maybe tiring, towards the end of the game, to go right. Let's launch these two on, and you've then got that instant burst of pace in that sense. So that could be, it's one of those one. It's a nice. It's a nice.
It's a wonderful dilemma to have, isn't it?
Yeah, who's starting, Maximin or Joe Linton? Yeah, who's going to start? Yeah, Wilson or Isak? Yeah, it's just those things. I think we haven't mentioned the right side, but I think it's a foregone conclusion. There's only one person who's going to be starting there, and that's Miggy Almiron.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I agree. By the way, Mark, I think you'll start with the solid lineup that probably won't score too many, but won't concede any. And then as Southampton get more desperate, they're going to have to open up because they've got nothing to lose and they have to score. And that's when the Isaks and the Maximins will come on. But I'm hoping that I'm wrong. I'm hoping because I want to see an exciting game from the off.
Yeah, and I think we will see an exciting game from the off. I think it's just going to be too much. It's going to be like the old days where they just get carried up in with the crowd because everyone's going to be so up for it. I think they're just going to get swept along with it. And if we do score early, which is what we said last time, which we didn't, if Southampton don't get a bit overawed by it all, it could be quite. Could be 3-0 by half time. Could be anything if they anything like we are. They're just going to get so carried away with it. It could end up being a massive thriller. 4-3.
Yeah. Interesting.
No. My nose could not take that.
No, mine couldn't either.
Here's a question.
Neither could take a 0-0 neither.
I'd still take that if that was the full-time result. But, there's a long way to go. Just going back on to the fact that we probably think it'll be Willock and Joe Linton. Who will be the one starting in the midfield and who will be the one starting on the wing?
Well, I mean, again, based off of just previous games, it's usually Joe Linton, isn't it? It starts on the left and then interchanges throughout. I think he's even done it throughout the first half, even interchange. So
More recently, I've seemingly seen Joe Willock, being more on the wing aspect than Joe Linton. And again, I actually think he's probably enjoying that wing play because he's got the pace. He's putting some decent balls in there, and he's not afraid to challenge on there. I actually think it might be Willock that ends up starting on the wing and Joe Linton in the midfield, just because Joe Linton can then be the one that's tracking back to help Dan Burn. Yeah, which is what he normally does anyway in that sense. It is those things. It's one of those ones. It's difficult, but I just got a feeling that I think Eddie Howe will go with the unchanged and go, well, let's not.
The only thing is, if you take Miggy's goals out, I mean, of that run we have had trouble scoring a goal. So is this the day he thinks, right, I'm going to change this time? Everyone's going to, like all of us. I mean, it's very Eddie, he won't change anything. And that's the day he does, because he knows that Joe missed a couple, didn't he? And, Big Joe missed a couple. That amazing one, how he missed that is just still.
But he could then have that patch where he goes and scores.
He could do. He could do. But I mean, in a tight game, we don't want to get it to the 89th minute and it's still bloody 0-0, do we? Really? Nobody wants that. I will just leave. I just don't think my nerves would stand it. I'd just be a puddle on the floor.
Does it go straight to penalties, by the way, if it finishes equal?
Don't think it does now.
No.
Okay.
If it's equal after full time, it goes to 30 minutes extra time and then penalties.
Ouch. Okay. I think I prefer that, actually, to be fair, in this case.
What, another 30 minutes?
No. I mean, as over just going straight to penalties. I think because another 30 minutes at St James's Park, I think we could potentially get it over the line. But I don't think it will come to that anyway. I think we'll finish the game off before then.
Well, as you've talked about that, we're going to move to the predictions aspect of it now. I'm not going to do prediction because I never do, and I'm going to keep it that way. It's working.
Always makes me laugh.
work.
Always makes
Yeah,
me laugh.
if it ain't broke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always working, so we're not going to change that. The only thing which I will say in that sense is I'm not one of those ones where I'm confident as some of the other fans that you're seeing on there who are already like booking trips to London now for Wembley and that, and it's like it's 1-0. They're a good side and they've shown that, and we need to do the job at home. Yeah, there's no point going into that game thinking everything's sorted and what on my way. That game's going to be difficult. It's a semi-final, yet you don't get easy semi-finals. So what we'll do? Who am I going to go to first? Which one looks as if they're going to be more tortured by it? Michael's normally the one who gets sorted by, so we'll go with it.
2-2. Like I always say, 2-2, and then we don't lose when I say 2-2. No, I considering they made change, I agree with everything that you said. And considering they made 8 changes, which is what I called last week, they've obviously picked which match was the priority for them, because they made 8 changes at the weekend for their cup match. I still can't see anything apart from us, like, it's just going to be 3-0 or something like that. I just can't see it. It would be the biggest upset in our history for it not to be any sort of comprehensive victory, just because of the crowd. It's just going to be bedlam, simple as that. The whole place is going to be bedlam, so it's going to be 3-0 to us.
Interesting. I echo that, by the way. I think by the way, Eddie Howe said something really interesting about this, actually, because they asked him in his press conference whether Southampton playing on the weekend was a disadvantage to them, and he said, actually, you can get into your rhythm more the more games that you play, as opposed to just training for a week. And so I think the manager, the Southampton manager, I think missed a trick there, because he rested 8 players, which means they haven't got any rhythm. So I think they're going to come into this game with just as lack of rhythm as we have, and I think it will finish 4-0. I think they'll have to go for it, Southampton, at some point, and I think it will open up, and we will bring on our best players
on the day out on average.
4-0. No, I think we'll finish 4-0 on the day.
Well,
don't make a prediction. I know you don't want to, so. But I mean, you're hoping to have a win, aren't you? I mean, if you don't, you're not going to say like we have 3-0, but you're expecting a win, aren't you?
I'm hoping not to lose.
I mean, at the end of the day, all that matters is we get to Wembley. Even if it's a drab 0-0, who cares? Like, we get to Wembley, it's fine. But it would be nice to give the crowd something, mainly because we're all going to be there, but also because like the atmosphere is going to deserve it.
Yeah, they're just going to get swept up in it. It's just not possible when the crowd's like that. Then again, it could be like really, they could score after 30 seconds. We're all like, what's happening?
Well, game,
football is a cruel mistress, as we all know.
It is.
She wants to be.
Yeah.
There's a part of me which I think Eddie Howe would rather want to try and get the game sewn up early so he can make the substitutions.
Yeah.
In his mind, thinking, right, okay, I need to rest some players because we've got West Ham on Saturday at St James's. So that'll be what you'd be looking at. So I think, you might see that. We all know what the substitutions normally are. It's Willock for St Maximin, it's Wilson for Isak, and it's
Jacob
Miggy for Jacob Murphy. You can write it.
Yeah.
But not soon. What we're going to do, we're just going to finish on a little bit extra, because we've done the match preview, and we'll probably haven't had a chance because we're not. We don't know whether or not we'll be able to fit in the podcast. So what we'll do is we're just going to fit in the obviously massive news, in that we've allowed the Evertonians to be upset. Yeah, I know they're like, oh yeah, we don't want him. Yeah, you always say that though. It's always like, if you don't get it, like, I didn't want it anyway. Yeah, it's that sort of style with them. But obviously we have signed Anthony Gordon on a long-term contract. I'm just looking on here, and this is from Luke Edwards. Chelsea do not want to do a deal with Newcastle for Conor Gallagher, but there could be a final day twist given how big the London club squad has become. We shall see. Seems unlikely as things stand. Sander Burge is not happening. Loftus-Cheek on far too much money wage-wise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds like what everyone's been saying.
So
Chelsea don't want to give us a hand, which is fair enough.
I thought we were friends with Chelsea. I thought our owners and their owners were friends. I thought they were kind of met for dinner and all that sort of stuff.
But obviously we're a rival, aren't we? So they don't want to do us any favours.
Well, we're not really a rival, are we? Because they're a mid-table team at the moment.
But if they're going to spend another 100 million on this, what's his name, Fernandez, whatever his name is, then they're obviously going to go for it. So,
Craig Hope is seeing quite a similar thing. But what he is seeing is, whilst Chelsea don't want to do business with a direct rival, the Fernandez arrival could throw a lot of things in the air.
Yeah.
Obviously, we are still waiting the confirmation of Harrison Ashby, which is what I would mainly check on Twitter for to see whether or not the club put the announcement out. Yeah, as sometimes they do. Yeah, when you're busy. But what we'll do is we'll talk just briefly on Anthony Gordon. Now, what I'll do is I'll go with the person that maybe isn't as in favour of this transfer. And leave the positive one till the end. So we'll leave it on a nice note. So we'll go with you, Michael. Why don't you want Anthony Gordon at Newcastle?
It had nothing to do with all this other stuff, about his personality, as it were. Because I don't know the lad. I've never met anyone who knows him. So it's all hearsay as far as I'm concerned. My problem is that he has only had one really good season. He's 21, and I think £40 million for potential is way too much. I think we've overpaid for him, and I hope now he's here that he completely and utterly proves me wrong. But I don't see it as simple as that. I know he's dynamic, and I know he fits in everything that we need, and I agree with that. But I say, if you take his shithousery out of it, I just don't see it. Simple as that. At the moment, hopefully I'm wrong, and like everybody, which is one good thing that we've had about this, in Eddie we trust, because he has really split people down the middle with this, not just our group but online as well. There's been a lot of people who got to get behind him, and which is right, but I don't see it. Simple as that.
Just bear in mind, in terms of the fee, when we were looking at him in the summer, we were being quoted 60 million.
Well, so Chelsea were. I mean, one price for them and
us. There was interest from, because Anthony Gordon even said, as soon as I heard the interest of Newcastle in the summer, that's where I wanted to go. Yeah,
which he would say that, wouldn't he? But again, the cynical head on there. But yeah, I mean,
the fact is, Liverpool and Newcastle have always been. Newcastle's been quite similar in terms of cities and
they are very similar, yeah.
So it might be that he quite likes that, because there is that sort of like similarity, in that sense, is that the familiarization of the place. We also know that as soon as he'd done his media stuff at the club, he was off scouting what buys he was going to get in the Metro Centre.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, taking everything else out of it,
to the local economy.
I mean, I'm sure he hasn't come here because he likes, the Northumbrian countryside. We're not going to go down that. I'm sure he's come to a pay rise, but he is potential, very, very raw potential, and it's going to go one of two ways. He's either going to be fantastic, and he's going to make me eat my words, and I hope he does, because then we all win, or he's just going to be a car crash. So,
see, my view on that is that when you do watch him, you do see now a lot of the stats he's been like, stats wise, he's one of Everton's best players.
Yeah,
even this season, so he is still doing things, he is still creating.
Yeah,
but it's one of those ones of, are you really going to judge him when he's playing with James Tarkowski and that sort of team? Then that Everton team, and obviously been coached by Frank Lampard, which.
True. I mean, I know he's been in the team since he was like 17, hasn't he? So he's been there and thereabouts. He's always been around the first team for quite a while. But I just think there was better possibilities out there. But obviously, he because of the crap that Everton are in, that's probably why he became available. That's why they wanted the cash. So,
I just think I'm one of the ones. I think he likes to play on the front foot.
yes,
but he's got that aggression and that fighting, which
true.
You want in like your players, and he'll not be afraid to go and track back and help out defensively. Yeah, I'm sure that's something that he'll do. To be honest, I've watched the interview that he did, and I was so impressed with how he was speaking in that. In like what he was wanting, and he even says, "Look, I haven't spoken to the coach about what you want to do in terms of play yet." And this just shows what the coach Eddie is, and he just sat us down and asked us about my life and that and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and that's what Eddie Howe does all the time. Yeah, he wants to know the person behind the footballer.
Yeah,
and I think that's what works. But
Yeah.
no, I've been really impressed on that. The other thing again, which I think we mentioned off the live broadcast, is the fact that the club now, when sat him down and showed him a video of the club's vision of the history of the club and the area, and you're like, this is probably normal with most clubs, but under the previous ownership, which I don't really want to name,
they would have been. There's a Greg's down there, and and Mike's shop's just there. If you want, you do get a 10% discount if you shop there. That's where
I don't think they got discounts. I don't think they got discounts.
No, it would have accidentally got missed off when they got to the counter, wouldn't they?
Yeah, only if you wear it, for free publicity.
Yeah. I love Mike. I have that t-shirt, but for different reasons. Go on, Ez. You be Mr. Positive now. After
I'm not going to disagree with pretty much everything you guys said. I think you guys are totally valid opinion, and it's potential. It's complete potential. But I will say he's played in a shocking team for the last 2 seasons. He's somehow managed to get 7 goals, 2 assists. He's not started that many games this season. He started 16 matches and he scored 3 goals under Frank Lampard under that terrible team. He still managed to get 3 goals. Tellingly, he's got 6 yellow cards this season. So he's a tenacious player. He's the type of player that we need to kind of like a big game player. He seems like the type of player that will relish playing at St. James's Park. He's got that kind of character about him, and I'm sure they've done their scouting on that as well, and they've kind of made sure they brought the right type of character in. I think he'll work really well in Eddie Howe's system. Yes, he has potential. He's completely, really unproven at like the elite level. But I think there's enough there to warrant the fee, especially because if we get into the Champions League, I think there is a prerequisite for you to have a certain number of homegrown players, right? And
I think there's
it ticks that box. Yeah,
I think it's actually whether or not it's the same as what it was in Football Manager, but in Football Manager you used to have a certain number of players that had to be academy graduates, and then homegrown, and then But if you think of it in terms of academy graduates, you've still got Sean Longstaff, Elliot
Anderson,
bring back Andy Carroll.
No, that was naughty, wasn't it? What he did.
We don't have a lot though. We don't have a lot, do we? Really?
No, it's shocking. Yeah, that's been for you another thing that's been undervalued and not appreciated.
Yeah.
Anyways, Mr. Ray.
Back to Gordon. I think he will prove he will be an England international in the next couple of years. He's about to turn 22. I think he's going to do well this season. I think we needed a player like him. We can't keep bringing on Jacob Murphy, he's ineffectual. I think he can come on and actually affect games. And so I think bring it on for it.
We only bring Jacob Murphy on to do the wave. What's that record?
By the way,
Jacob, get on
the arse. I really hope that doesn't bite us on the arse.
No, that's another reason. Really. But we don't know what he said to Murphy. He could have been spouting all sorts of shit for all we know. So Murphy's like, "Go on, off you trot," So we don't know, do we? But it doesn't look good. But it made all of us laugh, though.
No, but I think I mentioned it on the one last week, and I know it was Saudi Arabia. I know it was a friendly cup, but to have that level of sort of like presentation and stuff like that, that should you think the players would be going, yeah, well, this is lush. This, yeah, I want this to happen again, and that could be, the trigger for them, because I think they'd be looking at that and have that hunger and go, do you know what? Yeah, do you remember Saudi Arabia? Let's try and do that again. And I just think that's in there because, you look at Jacob Murphy. Jacob Murphy absolutely loved it. He was bigging that up, and I'm like, yeah, go on, do that. That's what I want. Yeah, any cup, any silverware's. We've waited that long. I'll take any silverware.
But I mean, that thing, what Ed says there, but that can go one of two ways. It can make you overzealous, and make you, I mean, I know he won't play now, but it can make them overzealous.
No, he will play. He will play. He served his ban on the weekend. So
did he?
He's coming back. Yeah.
Oh, well, in that case, he might get overzealous and be silly, and then and gets his
get another one
again. Yeah, I mean, it happens. Well, it happens, doesn't it? I mean, it might just be so.
But if we also notice, it was Maxi who got the second yellow because of his pace, and it's that. So that's the one of the things I think what we need to try and do is get as many Southampton players on yellow cards. Because the more of their backline that's on yellow card, the more they're going to be hesitant, in terms of going in, in terms of that. We'll also remember to tell Joe that in hands behind your back when you're going to score.
That was scandalous. I know we've covered it, but that was scandalous. I really think that was. What really pissed me off was actually, if you're watching it on TV, the punditry was just as bad as the VAR. The punditry was as bad. They showed you the angle in which it didn't hit his arm, and then they showed you the angle where it looked like it possibly hit his arm. But they showed you the conclusive angle, and they went, well, we still can't tell. So, no, they showed you the angle. It didn't hit his arm, but I just don't get it. I could not believe
the cameras don't help, do they? I think he said at one point. I was like, get better cameras.
Yes, they do.
Then.
There was a camera. It showed you directly there that it hit the top of his chest.
But the one thing which you will see is Shea Given jumped right in and went. No, it was definitely a goal. It wasn't a handball. Shea Given, Mr. Shea,
Shea Given is one of the pundits that actually do stick up for us, unlike Kieran Dyer.
Well, the fact is that I think Shea Given has probably already been nagging Sky to say, look, I want to do the second leg. I want to be at the one to see. I've got a sneaking suspicion. I think Warren Barton might be there as well.
Yes, he's in the country, isn't he? So
I just hope he's got a better record than the last time he went there, which was the Cambridge FA Cup game.
Oh my God! Stay away then, please, Warren.
If
I see you anywhere near that ground, me and you were having words, lad.
Just watch it in the strawberries.
Yeah. Go on, yeah. In fact, be a bit further away. Just in case.
Exactly.
Go down the quayside, something like that. Go on.
Go with the old George. It's So obviously we've looked at Gordon. We've looked at. We haven't really looked at Harrison Ashby, but we'll look. We might look at him at the podcast. If we do get that confirmation, and then obviously we've looked at what may happen tomorrow, and whether or not there are going to be quite a lot of travel companies busy Wednesday morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Can I just say, by the way, in relation to the transfer window, I keep saying this I said about Tielemans, and I'm saying it about Conor Gallagher as well. I just don't see it. I just don't see what the big deal is. I've never seen him play against us and have a good game. The 45 million thing just goes over my head. Who would pay 45 million for him? I just don't understand it. I just don't get it. Again, it might just be like Gordon. It might just be potential. I don't know, but I don't see it with Conor Gallagher.
I think with Conor Gallagher, you've probably seen a little bit more in terms of what you can do compared to Anthony Gordon.
So what can he do
in that sense? Well, look, but you look at the season that he had at Crystal Palace, and he was unreal.
Yeah.
So he's shown on that. Yeah.
He's like a good Sean Longstaff, mate.
Yeah, you see, to be honest, you're saying
which is not nice to Sean. I apologize.
I mean, Sean Longstaff. Sean. Is he better than Sean Longstaff? I don't know if he is.
On his day, he can be.
The one thing which I think you'd look at, I'm not going to judge him on this season at Chelsea because, quite frankly, Chelsea have been diabolical this season. Yeah. They've been basically the Everton of the elite teams.
Yeah.
In that sense, Black Rambo UK said, "What are your thoughts on Harrison Ashby?" We'll just do a quick one on that. From what my understanding is, in this, probably the coaching that they've done is he can run, he can take free kicks, he can take corners, he can put a pass in. He's basically a younger Trippier. Yeah, that's what I believe Newcastle have went for him for, because they can see that he has got the potential. Again, we'll use that word.
Yeah.
But to be fair, for 3 million,
yeah, 3 million.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Stuart Pearce was talking about him. He had him at West Ham, and he said he's one of those. He could be fantastic. He's got again the P word.
Well, so, unlike Everton, West Ham fans are disappointed to see him go. So that's always telling when you've got the opposition fans going, well, we didn't really want him to leave. But I think the club were put in the position where he wasn't going to sign a new contract. With that. I also think the club have been very clever because they're bringing him in, and they've obviously extended Trippier's contract, so he's going to be here for another couple of years.
Fantastic.
And you think if you're wanting to be an aspiring right back, there is probably no one better for you to be training under and sort of like learning under than Kieran Trippier. Yeah, so I think it's a very smart move. Yeah, Eddie Howe, they've looked at that and went, they've got the similarities. I also think that Ivan Fresneda, it probably wasn't even a go. It was probably just one where they've maybe looked at. But I think when we look at a player and we've got the focus, that's what we do. And I think that's what happened with Anthony Gordon. I think that's what's happened with Harrison Ashby. They've been long-term targets, and when they've been able to get the right deal, they went, right, yeah, okay, we'll do that. And that's what I like, rather than rushing out and trying to get Hamza Chowdhury on loan because we needed someone in there.
Yeah.
You're looking at that, and this is the thing. There's no point us going rushing out, and like you said, getting a Conor Gallagher or getting a Sander Bridge if they're not going to be good enough.
Yeah,
no.
I still think, and when you look at the midfield, you've got Bruno, you've got Joe Linton, you've got Joe Willett, you've got Joe Longstaff. Miggy can drop into midfield if needs be.
Anderson as well.
Anderson can do that. So you're looking at that, and you're going, it's probably not. It's not as big a sort of like thing when you look at that.
Shelby hasn't played. Hasn't played.
Yeah.
So,
exactly. He might have come back fit and then got injured again because it's sort of a thing with him in that sense.
And thanks to him as well, since he's been 7 years.
Yeah, he's been
obviously
fantastic...
going. So he's given us some great moments. That goal he scored against Leeds really kicked it all off last year. That's the one thing that'll stick in my mind that he got that started everything off. So thanks to him. I know he's had his moments. So
but for me, I still think LV's best goal was the Man City equaliser.
Yeah,
that would
probably be my second one. But just for what he did last year, just
it's for what it meant. Yeah.
Yes, sure. Exactly. Just
because that was the trigger point. That's where, because obviously we won that, we went to Saudi Arabia, and then we came back and we just went on
there's no stopping us.
A run,
which is still going.
Sense. Yeah, but you look at that and you're just going, well, he's not getting any younger. He probably wasn't going to have a massive amount of game time with us.
Yeah,
and he is on very, very high wages.
Yes,
and probably similar. And we'll put, from my understanding from the rumours, it's a decent transfer fee.
Yeah,
that we're getting for him. So given what we're getting for Chris Wood as well. Yeah,
thank you, Mr. Ashworth.
Exactly, we're getting some money for players that probably weren't going to be here long term, and we're getting massive wages off the pool. And as everyone keeps going, we need to be careful with FFP.
Yeah,
Chelsea don't, but
Chelsea don't. It's funny that, isn't it? It's funny how that works. Yeah,
but
that's get their accountant in.
Let them do that. Let them do what they want. But the fact is, they'll do it all now, but then it'll get later down the line where it'll be like, oh, we can't do that yet. We're screwed now.
Well, it's not sustainable, is it? It's not sustainable what they're doing because they've got players on long
let's hope that they don't go bust or anything.
Exactly. No, but that's where the difference is with Newcastle. They're like, right, we're going to be prudent. We're going to go for the right players. We're not going to vary from that. Yeah. If that player doesn't come available, then we'll not sign.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Players where Chelsea just seem to be like, well, we need to sign someone. We'll go and buy him. Yeah. It's just one of those things, and I just think.
Absolutely.
Really, really well done in terms. I'm just so impressed with how we're doing things, and we're like,
Yeah.
We're being methodical. We're being meticulous, and we're not
getting carried away with it. And
exactly. Yeah,
they're leaving that to all of us.
But you look at that, and the Gordon transfer fee aside, which 40 million for Joe Linton, people were probably questioning, and now you're probably going, well, he's probably worth 60.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean,
the only difference with Gordon is Gordon's been in the English game. He knows that, so he doesn't have that bedding in period like Joe Linton. And the biggest thing is he's got a manager who's capable and does improve players. There's not really one player that I can say that hasn't improved under.
Well, I would have said St. Maximin a few weeks ago, but since he's come back from his injury, he's passing the ball more. His decision making's been better. So
he's
maybe even back. ASM.
Yeah, he hasn't really had a run, has he, for us all to say, well, definitely look. I mean, he's been so in and out since the Man City game.
I've even seen him tracking back as well. So he is improving on that. But you just look and you think, well, Joe Linton, Miggy, Fabian Schär even.
Fabian Schär.
He was, we're always told Fabian Schär can't play in the back too.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Eddie Howe's went, we'll see about that.
We've still got 26 hours to sign James Maddison as well.
I think that will happen, but in the summer, I can't see it happening now, but I think it will happen.
You never know.
When we've been linked so heavily with a player, invariably we end up signing them with this regime.
Yeah.
I think the position that Leicester's probably in, because it's probably still precarious for them, is they're probably like, look, let's try and keep these players, because it's probably more beneficial than us trying to get the money for them and do that. So I think what you'll probably see is in the summer, you probably will see Maddison go.
I think we'll see a lot of players going out of ours as well. More than we did. What we were all expecting this summer will happen next summer.
We got 4 right backs. We got like 4 left backs.
Yeah.
Like, we really don't need all these full backs. Like, we just don't.
Again, I'm surprised we haven't got rid of a few more on this transfer. To be honest, no, Darlow's gone. I'm surprised Fraser's still there. He's talking.
Well, no, Darlow's potentially going tomorrow night.
Oh, okay.
Because I've got a feeling we need him on the bench because obviously Dubravka's cup tied.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me, though, because it's like, then if we get to the final, we still don't have Darlow there. So, like,
no, but we'd have Karius.
Yeah, but we've got Karius now. We've got 2 goalkeepers now. So, what's Darlow going to do?
But we don't know. The fact is, we still have 2 spaces because Ashby and Gallagher won't make the 25-man squad. We've got rid of Chris Wood and we've got rid of John Joe Shelby.
Yeah.
So
that's why I'm surprised we haven't got rid of a few more.
But that's the thing. Eddie Howe may turn around and actually go, do you know what? I think it's probably better if we keep Darlow in that sense. I just think for one game, I think he needs to move on, Darlow. Yeah,
he definitely needs to go.
But if you look at it, even if he does, you've then got Nick Pope, Martin Dubravka, and Loris Karius. 3 really, really good goalkeepers. And it's probably like, when has there been a time where we've had as strong a goalkeeper sort of like section as that?
Never. Probably, I don't think ever.
Well, not since Harper and Given, I would have said.
Yeah, but even the third one. Yeah.
Oh, third one as well. God, I can't even remember who was. Yeah. No, good
exactly.
Point.
And the thing that we need to remember is Emil Kraft is he's coming back from injury at some point. So you think you've got Trippier, you've got Ashby, you've got
Manquillo, you've got Kraft.
I think Manquillo will go, and I think Joe.
He won't go in this window, though, will he?
I think Jamal Lewis will probably I think Manquillo and Jamal Lewis will probably go in the summer. I don't think we'll. I don't think we'll get rid of any.
Go in the summer.
I don't think we'll see. What's it? Black Mamba said. Can see Richie Fraser, Manquillo, Lewis, Darlow, or Martin Gordon in the summer. Paul will stay because of his Newcastle background, counting towards one going.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. Shout. I'm not too sure because he did only get a 1-year contract extension from us, and there's and he was on 9 years. So there's just something in my mind where I'm going, have we done that so he got to the 10 years?
Yeah, and
then so you could have a testimonial. There's.
Yeah, and don't forget the Champions League point we just made earlier. We will need Paul Dummett for that as well to put a tick in the quota as a homegrown academy player, right?
Yeah. He might stay. I just don't think he's good enough. Yeah, it's one of those things where you don't.
Seems so very little of him. I almost forgot what he looks like.
Yeah.
Well, he's another Shelby. He's always injured.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
other thing as well. I'm surprised Fraser's still there, to be honest, because I know he's on good money. I'm surprised. I thought he would be following out the door with Chris Wood, but obviously not. So
There's
They
still
might know.
time.
That's the thing, though. That
there's still
it might
24 hours,
happen.
isn't there? So yeah,
Yeah.
could do.
Exactly. So
Just to-
it's all those things. Yeah, there's still time. Things can still happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what we'll do before we get ahead of ourselves and start signing James Maddison, Conor Gallagher, Kylian Mbappe.
Harry Kane. I had a DPD driver today say, "No, Harry Kane will do you good, you know." Yes, he probably would. It's not going to happen, but it probably
I don't
would.
like him though. I
just
don't
love the
like
way
him.
everyone else still has this thing that we're just going to sign all these players, and it's just nice when like, no, it's not going to happen. Don't worry about it.
I'll take Erling Haaland.
Yes, I might have him. He's not doing very well at City, is he?
Give it a few years, and we will nab
Give us
him
that
just
nice
before he breaks
Champions
the
League
record.
money. That's what we're waiting for, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly. So what we'll do is we'll wrap up before we'll get ourselves carried away and excited,
and we got through the whole thing without mentioning the F word.
The F word. We didn't say the F word,
which we mentioned so many times before we even got on air. Was
what, food?
And we managed it.
What, finances for food?
Finances. The shindig at the down south at the end of February. That one.
Oh, Folkestone.
Yeah,
that's the one.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to mention the as you said, the F word, because that's an error that I made in the FA Cup tie where I got out of myself. And when I was looking at the results, I was like, "Oh, Blackpool, that'll be a good trip for the in the next round." And that, so not happening again.
No,
we've got to
not even tomorrow.
Exactly.
But that whistle goes.
Exactly. Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll say good night, and fingers crossed there'll be happier faces come the next podcast. So thank you and good night.